Dr. Amy Foster stared at her computer screen in frustration. The alien signals were clear as day, but no one would listen to her warnings. She pushed her red hair back and took another sip of coffee, her third cup since midnight. The Zaxian ships had appeared at the edge of the solar system just 2 weeks ago, and already Earth's governments were rushing to welcome them. "You need to sleep sometime," said her assistant, Mark Wilson, placing another stack of data printouts on her desk. The laboratory deep within NASA's headquarters buzzed with activity even at this late hour. "Not while these readings keep showing what they show," Amy replied, pointing at the neural scan patterns on her screen. "The Zaxians' brains work completely differently from ours. They're pure telepaths, Mark. They can't understand how we think because they've never encountered a species that thinks like us before." Outside her office window, the night sky glowed with unusual colors, the result of Zaxian ships entering Earth's atmosphere for the first time. The world celebrated. News channels couldn't stop talking about humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization. But Amy knew better. The next morning, at the first official meeting between human and Zaxian representatives, Amy sat in the back of the UN Assembly Hall, clutching her research papers. The Zaxian ambassador, tall and silvery-skinned with 4 arms and eyes that glowed like distant stars, stood at the podium. "We welcome Earth into the protective embrace of the Zaxian Empire," the ambassador announced through their translation device. "As a Level 2 civilization, you qualify for our guidance and protection. We will help you develop in a controlled and safe manner." Amy couldn't stay quiet any longer. She stood up, ignoring the glares from security. "What about the deep space signals we've detected from Neptune's orbit? Have you investigated those?" The ambassador's glowing eyes flickered. "We detected no significant activity beyond Mars. Your species is clearly confined to the inner solar system." Amy smiled grimly. She knew about Project Ghost Protocol, the classified program that had been running for 20 years in the outer solar system. Her brother worked on it after all. The Zaxians had made their first mistake. They assumed humans would only live where it was comfortable. 3 days later, Amy's security clearance got her into a secret meeting at the Pentagon. General Frank Rogers paced the room as he addressed the small group of scientists and military leaders. "The Zaxians have started setting up their protective bases on the moon," he said, making air quotes with his fingers. "They've given us a week to start dismantling our more advanced weapon systems, say they're too dangerous for a young species. They have no idea what's waiting in the outer system, do they?" Amy asked. "No," Rogers smiled. "And Project Ghost just sent the confirmation we've been waiting for. The first generation of Voidborn is ready." Amy pulled up the latest images from Neptune on the room's main screen. Hidden in the planet's dark side, humanity's greatest secret was stirring to life. The project had started as a way to explore deep space, combining human consciousness with machines that could survive the void. But it had evolved into something more. The void energy they discovered out there had changed everything. "How long until they notice?" someone asked. "They won't," Amy replied. "Their telepathic senses can't detect void energy. It's completely dark to them. By the time they realize what we've created out there in the darkness, it'll be too late." In the following days, as the Zaxians began their peaceful takeover of Earth's governments, Amy kept watching her deep space monitors. The signals from Neptune grew stronger. The Voidborn were waking up, humanity's children born in the darkest parts of space. They weren't just machines, and they weren't just human anymore. They were something new. The Zaxians had made a crucial mistake. They thought they were dealing with primitive humans who needed protection. They didn't realize that humans had already adapted to the harshest environment of all, the void of space itself. And soon, very soon, they would learn why even the darkness feared what humanity could become. As Amy watched the Zaxian ships landing on Earth, she whispered to herself, "They should have checked the outer darkness first. That's where we hide our monsters." Robert Nash floated in the observation dome of Station Erebus, watching Neptune's dark storms swirl below. The massive gas giant's blue surface helped hide their operations from prying eyes. Even now, with alien ships in the inner solar system, no one had spotted them. The void energy that powered their station bent light around them, making them invisible to both normal sensors and Zaxian telepathic scanning. "Director Nash, they're ready for you in Chamber 7, said a voice over his comm unit. He pushed off the dome's wall and glided through the station's corridors. After 20 years in space, moving in zero gravity felt more natural than walking. The staff he passed all wore the same dark gray uniforms with the Ghost Protocol patch, a black circle with a silver spiral. Chamber 7 was their largest testing area. Inside, dozens of technicians worked at control stations surrounding a central platform. On the platform stood their newest creation, a void-born hybrid. "How's Amanda doing?" Robert asked Dr. Paul Hayes, his chief medical officer. "Better than expected," Paul replied, checking his tablet. "Her consciousness transfer was perfect. The void energy absorption rate is stable at 89%. The figure on the platform looked almost human, but not quite. Amanda Wilson had volunteered for the program 6 months ago. Now her consciousness lived in a body that was part machine, part void energy, and part human tissue. Her skin had a slight metallic sheen, and faint lines of purple energy pulsed along her arms. "Amanda, can you hear me?" Robert called out. She turned, her eyes glowing with a soft purple light. "Perfectly, Director. The neural integration is complete. I can feel the void energy flowing through every part of me." Robert smiled. Amanda was their 100th successful transfer, part of the first wave of void-born soldiers. But she was more than just a soldier. She was evolution in action. Each hybrid they created learned to use the void energy in new ways. "Show me what you've learned," he said. Amanda nodded. The air around her began to ripple, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. Then she simply stepped sideways and vanished. A moment later, she appeared on the other side of the chamber. "That's new," Paul whispered, furiously taking notes. "The void energy lets me fold space," Amanda explained, her voice echoing slightly. "I can step through the gaps between moments. The Zaxians won't know what hit them." Robert checked the latest reports from Earth. The aliens were spreading their influence, setting up bases and advisory councils across the planet. They thought they were being generous, helping a primitive species advance. They had no idea that humans had already advanced far beyond their expectations. "Director," called out Sarah Jones, their communications officer. "We're getting reports from the other stations. All 100 of the first wave are ready. And, sir, they're starting to communicate with each other through the void itself." That was unexpected. Robert walked to the main display screen, which showed the locations of their 8 hidden stations scattered throughout the outer solar system. Purple lines of energy connected them, showing the void communication network their hybrids had created. "It's like they're building their own internet through empty space," Sarah explained. "They're sharing knowledge, experiences, evolving faster than we predicted." Robert felt a chill run down his spine. They had created the Voidborn to protect Earth, but they were becoming something more, something that even their creators hadn't imagined possible. "Sir," Amanda called out, "we're picking up Zaxian ships entering the asteroid belt. They're expanding their patrol range." Robert nodded. The moment was coming sooner than they'd planned, but they were ready. Begin Operation Dark Wake. It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't as helpless as they think. Around Neptune's orbit, 8 hidden stations hummed with power. Inside each one, the Voidborn prepared for war. Not with guns or bombs, but with powers born from humanity's greatest achievement, the ability to turn the darkness of space itself into a weapon. Robert watched as Amanda and the other hybrids began their final preparations. The Zaxians thought they were dealing with simple humans. They were about to learn that humans had become something far more terrifying than mere flesh and blood. Commander Lisa Chen stood at the bridge of the void ship Asterisk, Shadow Whisper Asterisk, watching Earth grow smaller in the distance. Her new body hummed with void energy, purple lines tracing patterns across her skin. Around her, other Voidborn worked at their stations, their eyes glowing with the same purple light. The Zaxian fleet never saw them coming. How could they? The void ships were invisible to both normal sensors and telepathic scanning. Lysa's fleet of 20 ships, crewed entirely by Voidborn hybrids, slipped past the alien patrol boats like ghosts. "First target in range," said Brian Cooper, her weapons officer. His metallic skin reflected the soft purple light of the bridge. "Zaxian command station on the moon." Lysa nodded. "Begin Phase 1. Let's show them what happens when you try to cage humanity." The Voidborn didn't need traditional weapons. Each hybrid could channel the void energy in unique ways. Lysa raised her hand, connecting her mind to the ship's systems and to every hybrid in the fleet. Through their shared void network, they moved as one. Purple energy rippled through space. On the moon's surface, the Zaxian command station's lights flickered and died. Inside, the alien telepaths screamed. The void energy disrupted their mental powers, leaving them blind and confused. "Their distress signals are spreading panic through the Zaxian fleet," reported Emma Davis from Communications. "They've never encountered anything that could block their telepathy before." Lysa allowed herself a small smile. Phase 2. Target their ships in Earth orbit. The void ships spread out, each one choosing a target. The Zaxians finally noticed something was wrong when their engines started failing. Void energy seeped into their ship systems, turning their own technology against them. "Commander," Brian called out, "we're getting a transmission from the Zaxian flagship. They're demanding to know what we are." "Show them," Lysa ordered. The void ships dropped their cloaking fields. 20 black vessels appeared around Earth, their hulls lined with pulsing purple energy. On their bridges stood the Voidborn, humanity's answer to alien oppression. The Zaxian admiral's face appeared on their main screen. His glowing eyes widened in shock as he saw Lysa's transformed appearance. What have you humans done to yourselves?" "We adapted," Lysa replied simply. "While you were busy looking down on us, we were learning to use the darkness between the stars. You thought we needed protection. We were protecting ourselves all along." Fear spread through the Zaxian fleet like a wave. Their telepathic network, which connected all their ships and crews, worked against them. As soon as one Zaxian felt terror at the sight of the Voidborn, that fear infected all of them. "You have 1 hour to retreat beyond Mars," Lysa announced. "After that, we'll show you why humanity survives in places your kind fears to go." The Zaxian ships couldn't leave fast enough. Their carefully planned occupation of Earth fell apart in minutes. Their mighty telepathic powers meant nothing against beings who had merged with the void itself. Back on Earth, Dr. Amy Foster watched the alien ships fleeing from her laboratory window. Her computer screen showed the void energy readings spreading through the solar system. The Voidborn were announcing their presence to the galaxy. "Message from Commander Chen," her assistant Mark called out. "The first wave was successful. No casualties on either side." Amy nodded. That had been part of the plan, to drive the Zaxians away without destroying them. Let them spread the word about what humanity had become. Let the galaxy learn to fear the species that could turn the void itself into a weapon. In orbit, Lysa Chen watched the last Zaxian ship disappear toward Mars. This was just the beginning. Other alien empires would come, thinking they could control or destroy humanity. They would all learn the same lesson. "Set course for Neptune," she ordered her fleet. "We need to prepare the second wave. The galaxy's about to learn that the scariest monsters aren't the ones that hide in the darkness. They're the ones that become one with it." The void ships turned, their purple energy trails cutting through space. Humanity had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. Dr. David Cooper sat in his dimly lit lab at NASA, surrounded by screens showing data from across the galaxy. 3 months had passed since the Voidborn drove away the Zaxian fleet, and the ripple effects were spreading faster than anyone had expected. "Another distress signal," said his research partner. Linda Peters, pointing to a blinking light on their star map. The Zaxians are losing control of the Orion sector. Their telepathic network is falling apart. David rubbed his tired eyes. He hadn't expected the Voidborn to have such a devastating effect on alien psychology. The mere presence of void energy seemed to break something in telepathic species' minds. "Show me the latest evolution data," he said. Linda pulled up a new screen. It showed brain scans of the Voidborn, taken over the past 3 months. The purple patterns of void energy were growing more complex with each passing week. "They're changing," Linda whispered. "The void energy isn't just powering them anymore. It's reshaping them. Look at Commander Chen's latest scan." The image showed Lisa Chen's neural patterns. They were nothing like human brainwaves anymore. The void energy had created new pathways, new ways of thinking that David could barely understand. His phone buzzed. A message from the Pentagon. "Turn on the news," it said. Every screen in the lab switched to the emergency broadcast. A Zaxian warship had appeared over New York City, but something was wrong with it. The ship's hull was covered in strange, dark patterns, and its crew seemed to be in a panic. "This is Commander Chen." Lisa's voice came over the broadcast. "The Zaxian ship is not a threat. They're requesting asylum." David leaned forward, fascinated. The Zaxian ship's captain appeared on screen, his silvery skin pale with fear. "We can't go back," the alien said. "The void, it's spreading. Our people are seeing things in the darkness between stars, things that weren't there before." "What kind of things?" David asked, even though the alien couldn't hear him. As if answering his question, the camera showed images from Zaxian space. Their mighty empire was coming apart. The void energy left behind by the Voidborn had changed something fundamental about their territory. Their telepathic networks, once spanning thousands of light years, were picking up strange signals from the darkness. "Sir," Linda called out, "you need to see this." She pulled up the latest data from the Ghost Protocol stations. The Voidborn were evolving faster than ever. They weren't just talking through the void anymore. They were reshaping it. Each hybrid had become a living gateway to something older and stranger than space itself. David's phone buzzed again. This time, it was a direct message from Commander Chen. "We need you at Neptune Station. Something's happening to us." The trip to Neptune took 3 days aboard a regular transport ship. When David arrived at Station Erebus, he immediately noticed the changes. The void energy wasn't just in the Voidborn anymore. It had spread throughout the station. Purple light pulsed in the walls like heartbeats. Lisa Chen met him in the observation dome. She looked different now. The metallic sheen of her skin had developed patterns that shifted like oil on water. Her eyes weren't just glowing. They seemed to contain entire galaxies. "We're not just weapons anymore, David," she said. "The void is alive. It's been alive all along, and now it's teaching us its secrets." David ran his scans, collected his data, and reached a startling conclusion. The Voidborn weren't just evolving. They were becoming something that the universe hadn't seen in billions of years, something that the Zaxians and other telepathic species could sense, deep in their genetic memory. "The galaxy's scared of us," Lisa said, watching Neptune's storms below. "But they don't understand. We're not here to destroy. We're here to change everything." David looked at his readings again. The void energy patterns were forming connections between all the Voidborn, creating a new kind of consciousness that stretched across space itself. Humanity hadn't just created soldiers or explorers. They had awakened something that had slept in the darkness since the beginning of time. And it was still waking up. Karen Martinez stood before the United Nations Security Council, her dark suit a sharp contrast to the faint purple glow beneath her skin. As Earth's chief diplomat to other alien species, she had a difficult job ahead of her. "Another species is requesting void technology," she announced. "The Draconians have suffered under Zaxian rule for 3 centuries. They'd want our help." The room erupted in whispers. 6 months had passed since humanity revealed its Voidborn, and the galaxy was changing faster than anyone had expected. The Zaxian Empire was crumbling, and its former slave species were rising up. "Can we trust them?" asked the Chinese representative. Karen gestured, and a hologram appeared above the council table. It showed a reptilian alien, a draconian ambassador, bowing before Earth's flag. "They've proven their intentions," Karen said. "They helped evacuate human tourists when the Zaxians first arrived. Now they're asking for our help in return." The council voted. Earth would share the void technology, but carefully. Karen would personally oversee the process. 2 weeks later, she stood in a lab on Mars, watching the first draconian volunteers prepare for the void transformation. Dr. Paul Hayes, now head of the Ghost Protocol's medical division, checked their vital signs. "Their biology is different from ours," he said, "but the void energy adapts to any living thing. It's like it wants to spread." The first draconian emerged from the chamber, scales now shimmering with familiar purple lines. But something was different. Where human voidborn glowed with purple energy, the draconian's void patterns shifted through rainbow colors. The void responds differently to each species, Karen realized. It's not changing them into copies of us. It's helping them become better versions of themselves. More species came asking for help. The Meridians, floating gas bag creatures who had been forced to serve as living computers for the Zaxians. The crystalline core, whose worlds had been stripped for resources. Each species that underwent the void transformation developed unique abilities. But the biggest surprise came from the voidborn themselves. Karen was in her office on Luna Base when she felt it. A gentle touch in her mind. Not like the harsh probe of Zaxian telepathy, but something deeper. All across the solar system, every voidborn felt the same thing. They were connecting. Not just human voidborn, but every transformed being across dozens of species. The void energy was creating a network of consciousness that stretched between the stars. Mrs. Martinez, her assistant, called through the intercom. "Commander Chen is here to see you." Lisa Chen entered the office, but she wasn't alone. A draconian voidborn and a crystalline core floated beside her, their bodies pulsing with void energy. "It's happening," Lisa said. "The void isn't just changing our bodies, it's changing the galaxy itself. We can feel it. Every transformed being, every species that joins us, adds something new to the network." Karen watched in awe as the three beings demonstrated. The void energy flowed between them, creating patterns in the air that seemed to fold space itself. Where their powers touched, reality rippled like water. "We need to be careful," Karen said. "Some species are scared of what we're becoming. The Zaxians are spreading stories." "Let them," the Draconian said, its rainbow-scaled face serious. "The void chose humanity to find it first, because you were ready. You didn't run from the darkness between stars. You embraced it." Reports came in from across known space. The void network was growing stronger. Transformed beings from different species could share thoughts, memories, even dreams across light years. They weren't just allies anymore. They were becoming something new. Karen looked out her office window at Earth glowing blue below. Humanity had wanted to defend itself from alien conquest. Instead, they had started a revolution that was reshaping the galaxy one species at a time. "We're not just fighting an empire anymore," Lisa said, reading her thoughts through the void network. "We're building something better. A galaxy where no species needs to fear the darkness, because we are the darkness, and we protect our own." The void energy pulsed in agreement, connecting minds and hearts across the stars, growing stronger with each passing day. Fleet Admiral Steve Patterson watched from the bridge of his void ship as the massive Zaxian fleet gathered around their homeworld. The purple glow of void energy rippled across his dark skin as he studied their formations. After 8 months of running, the Zaxian Empire had finally decided to make its last stand. "They've gathered every ship they have left," said his second-in-command, Rita Wilson. Her void-enhanced eyes scanned the enemy fleet. "Over 10,000 ships. They're desperate." Steve nodded. The combined void fleet behind him carried representatives from every transformed species: humans, Draconians, Meridians, Quar, and dozens more. Each ship pulsed with different colors of void energy, creating a beautiful light show against the darkness of space. "They're broadcasting," Rita said. "The Zaxian High Command wants to speak with you." The main screen lit up, showing the Zaxian Emperor himself. The alien ruler's silver skin had grown pale, and his glowing eyes were dim with fear. "You have destroyed everything we built," the Emperor said. 10,000 years of empire reduced to chaos in mere months. "We will not surrender to monsters." Steve smiled sadly. "We're not here for your surrender. We're here to free your people." The Void Fleet moved forward, not firing weapons, but spreading void energy through space. The Zaxian ships fired everything they had: energy beams, plasma torpedoes, gravity bombs. But the void simply swallowed their attacks. "Their telepathic network is their strength," Steve told his fleet through the void link. "It's also their weakness. Target their psychic relay stations. Cut them off from each other. No killing unless absolutely necessary." The void ships split into smaller groups, each heading for a different target. Steve watched as void energy spread through the Zaxian defense grid. Their mighty weapons fell silent. Their telepathic communications became scrambled. "Sir," Rita called out, "we're picking up signals from the planet. The lower classes, they're asking for the void transformation. They want to be free of the telepathic network." That was the Empire's fatal flaw. For 10,000 years, the Zaxian ruling class had controlled their people through forced telepathic connections. Now those connections were being severed, one by one. A Draconian void ship reported success at the northern pole. A Meridian fleet secured the southern continent. The Quar's crystalline vessels surrounded the orbital stations. Everywhere, void energy spread like a gentle wave. "The Emperor's palace is locked down," Rita reported. "They're trying to maintain control of their network from there." Steve stood up. "Take us in. It's time to end this." His flagship, the Darklight moved through the chaos of battle without firing a single shot. Void energy rolled off its hull, disabling Zaxian defenses. When they reached the palace, Steve led a team of mixed species void-born inside. They found the Emperor in his throne room, surrounded by his psychic guards. The alien ruler looked much smaller up close. "What are you going to do?" the Emperor demanded. "Kill us all." "No," Steve said. "We're going to show you a better way." He raised his hand, and void energy filled the room. Not attacking, not destroying, but offering a choice. The guards looked at each other, then lowered their weapons. One by one, they stepped forward, asking for transformation. The Emperor watched in horror as his own people chose to embrace the void. "You've doomed us all," he whispered. "The darkness between stars, it was never meant to be touched." "You're wrong," Steve replied. "The void isn't just darkness. It's change, evolution, freedom. Your people understand that now, even if you don't." Across the planet, millions of Zaxians were making the same choice. The telepathic network that had controlled them for millennia was dissolving, replaced by something new, something that connected minds through choice, not force. Steve looked out the palace windows at the light show above. Void ships of all species flew together, their energy trails painting the sky in countless colors. The Zaxian Empire had fallen not to weapons or warfare, but to the simple offer of freedom. "Send word to Earth," he told Rita through their void link. "Tell them it's done. The galaxy is changing, and there's no going back." The void energy pulsed in agreement, spreading between the stars like a promise of better things to come. Director Rachel Brooks stood at the center of the newly built Terran Void Council chamber in Geneva. 1 year had passed since the fall of the Zaxian Empire. The massive room, designed to hold representatives from over 50 species, hummed with void energy of every color imaginable. "The galaxy is changing faster than we ever expected," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber. Her own void energy pulsed softly blue against her brown skin. Our task now is to guide that change wisely. The assembled representatives were an amazing sight. Human Voidborn sat next to transformed Draconians, their scales shimmering with rainbow energy. Crystalline core floated beside gaseous meridians. Even a group of transformed Zaxians had joined the council, their silver skin now decorated with patterns of golden void energy. "The latest reports are in," said Peter Ryan, her chief advisor. 3 more species have requested void transformation this month alone. The void network now spans almost a quarter of the known galaxy. Rachel nodded. On the giant screen behind her, a map showed the spread of void energy across space. Purple for human territories, rainbow for Draconians, blue for Meridians, and dozens of other colors representing different species. All connected, all changing together. "We've discovered something interesting," announced Dr. Amy Foster, now head of Void Research. Her red hair had started turning silver from long exposure to void energy. "The void isn't just changing us, we're changing it. Each species that joins the network adds something new, something unique." She showed them the data. Human Voidborn were best at moving through space. Draconians could shape void energy into solid forms. Meridians could use it to process vast amounts of information. Quar could store memories in crystalline void structures. Together, they were becoming something greater than any single species could be alone. "But we face new challenges," Rachel continued. "Some species are afraid of change. They see our transformation as a threat. We must show them a better way." As if to prove her point, alarms suddenly rang through the chamber. A fleet of unknown ships had appeared at the edge of the solar system. Everyone could feel their fear and anger through the void network. "The Krell," someone whispered. "They've come to stop us." Rachel stayed calm. The Krell were one of the oldest species in the galaxy, and they hated change more than anything. Their ships were powerful, their weapons advanced, but that didn't matter anymore. "Send them our message," she ordered. "Show them who we are now." Through the void network, every transformed being in the solar system reached out. They shared their memories, their experiences, their joy at becoming something new. They showed the Krell what the void had given them, not weapons or power, but understanding, connection, growth. The Krell fleet stopped advancing. Their weapons powered down. After a long moment, they sent back a simple message: "We want to understand." Rachel smiled. Another species choosing transformation over fear. The void network grew stronger with each new mind that joined it. "This is what humanity was meant to do," she told the council. "Not to conquer the galaxy, but to help it grow." We looked into the darkness between stars and saw not something to fear, but something to embrace. Now we can help others do the same. The chamber filled with sounds of agreement, human voices, Draconian growls, Meridian whistles, Quar chimes, all joined in harmony. Through the void network, similar sounds echoed from transformed beings across thousands of worlds. "The Zaxians thought we were unleashing monsters on the galaxy," Rachel said. "They were wrong. We were unleashing evolution itself, and this is just the beginning." Outside the council chamber, Earth's night sky glowed with the combined light of void ships from 50 species. Where there had once been darkness between the stars, now there was color, life, and endless possibility. The void terrors humanity had created turned out to be not destroyers, but creators. Not conquerors, but transformers. Not an ending, but a beautiful new beginning. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, the void itself seemed to smile.